Well, well, well. You think you're ready for the high seas, huh? You spent countless hours in safer seas training and preparing for this day. Born a swabby, but now a fearsome pirate, ready to take on anyone dumb enough to get in your... Yeah, about that. I promise you, you're not even close to ready. If you're confused, Sea of Thieves recently split the game into two modes: Safer Seas, which is PvE only, and High Seas, which is the normal PvPvE mode. Safer Seas allows players to enjoy a watered-down version of the game without the presence of other players. I've gone into great detail on the differences between these modes in my last video, but today I'm here to share the top 10 things you need to know before jumping into the shared world of High Seas. Let's get started. Starting with number 10. Have you ever noticed this little hourglass on your ship? If you aren't comfortable with PvP yet, do not try and activate it. This is the PvP matchmaking mode that will match you in a fight to the death against a ship of the same size. Also, it'll only match solos against other solos. This is a great way to get gold through PvP if you're able to get high enough kill streaks. Just make sure you turn in your hourglass before you end up sinking and losing it all. Some people think this is a good way to learn PvP, but that's not always true. While it's supposed to have skill-based matchmaking, the player pools aren't always very big, so it can match you against absolute sweats or even have trouble finding you a match at all. If you want practice, I'd personally recommend booting up High Seas and just attacking every player ship you see. So, this Hourglass mode is split into two factions: Servants of the Flame and Guardians of Fortune, both of which have their own dedicated faction layers you can only access at rank 100. Once inside, you'll be awarded either the Skeleton Curse or the Athena Blessing, arguably the coolest cosmetics in the game. And yes, you can get both. Moving on to number 9. You might notice some world events and map icons you don't recognize. To start, there are 3 new world events exclusive to High Seas. First is the Fort of Fortune, which is marked by a skull with bright red eyes and a crack in the forehead. Lots of high value loot, including a Chest of Legends, a highly sought after piece of loot for the pirate legend faction Athena's Fortune. Speaking of pirate legends, the next world event is the Legend of the Veil, marked by a blue tornado with a cloud that looks like a flat, burnt pancake. This is a Voyage exclusive to Athena's Fortune and starts a world event that is accessible by anyone on the server. Now, this is not the same as the Ghost Fleet event, which is a similar blue tornado without the burnt pancake top. This also awards a Chest of Legends and other Athena loot. Finally, we have the Fort of the Damned, a player-activated world event. Head to the fort and light the lanterns inside by acquiring different colored flames from the Ferry of the Damned by dying in specific ways. You can also light them by acquiring a Skull of Destiny, which makes this much easier. Marked by a skull with red eyes only, this event has high value loot, and more importantly, in Season 10, it contains the Chest of Fortune, which is the most valuable item in the game. This chest moves locations each season. This event also contains Reaper chests, which you can find around the world in shipwrecks and other places. They are always marked on the map and award doubloons upon turn-in at the Reaper's hideout. At number 8, we have Captaincy. This is the ability to purchase your own ship and gain lots of helpful perks. The cost varies based on ship size, but this should be your first objective upon entering High Seas. It allows you to name your ship, earn ship progression, decorate your boat, save cosmetics, buy extra supplies from the shipwright, create a guild, and most importantly, you gain access to the Sovereign Tent. This tent on each outpost allows you to turn in all of your loot in one place rather than running it around the whole island. Not only is this less tedious, but it's less time for other players to steal your loot. Coming in at number 7 are Emissaries. These are special flags you can purchase upon reaching rank 15 in most factions. They increase in rank from 1 to 5 by accumulating loot from the faction you're representing. With each rank, you earn a multiplier for rep and gold for loot turned into that faction, maxing out at rank 5 with 2.5 times the value. Beware, however, the Reaper's Bones faction exists specifically to hunt these emissaries and sink them. Once sunk, emissaries drop their flag, which Reapers can then turn in to the Reaper's hideout for lots of gold. Not only that, the Reaper's Bones gets emissary rank and bonuses for all loot, not just faction-specific items. The trade-off, however, is that when flying the Reaper's Bones emissary flag, you are marked on the map for all players at all times. Keep an eye on your map to make sure you don't have these predators heading towards your ship. If, however, you are being chased, that's where number 6 comes into play. Sail management. This is extremely important to surviving in the high seas. To reach maximum speed, you always want to turn your sails to catch the wind to the best of your ability, unless you are going directly into a headwind. In that case, you want the sails straight forward until the wind changes. The special case, however, is the sloop, which should always have sails perfectly forward unless you can catch full billow. So, on the sloop, if you have a tailwind and can fill up your sails left, right, forward, or any direction, do so. Otherwise, in any form of a headwind, keep them straight forward for maximum speed. Again, this is only a special case for the sloop. Sail maintenance won't mean much when number 5 comes into play. While playing safer seas, you may have noticed chain shots don't really serve a purpose. That's because they are specifically meant for breaking ships of other players. A chain shot to your anchor will remove some pegs, making it harder to raise. Hitting the wheel will make it harder to turn. And most importantly, hitting the mast will knock it down. Again, the sloop has a special case for this, where its mast takes 2 chain shots to knock down instead of 1. If this happens, you're going to want to raise your sail back up immediately so you can get moving again. The only exceptions are if the boat has water up to the map table that you need to bucket first, or if you need to apply pressure to an enemy ship with some well-placed cannon shots so they aren't able to board you while you repair. This next tip at number 4 is less of a mechanical one and more of an attitude that you need to survive in the high seas. So listen carefully. Loot isn't yours until you turn it in. Let that sink in. In the normal Sea of Thieves experience, you will sink often. Your loot will be stolen. It doesn't matter how long it took you to collect, how little or how much you have, it will and can be taken often, and that's okay. There's always more loot to get, and try to use these experiences to learn what you could have done differently to survive next time. That's just the true nature of PvPvE games. Number 3 is one you'll likely notice almost immediately. Player weapon damage is significantly higher than NPC weapon damage. For instance, a skeleton sniper will only take a moderate chunk of health, while a player sniper will take 70% of your health. This applies to all weapons, so don't be surprised when you're getting a crazy amount of incoming damage you aren't used to. The most important thing to counter this is to make sure you are always above 70% health. Otherwise, a single sniper shot from an enemy player will send you to the ferry. And trust me, players in Sea of Thieves have really good aim. They'll be sniping you all the way from their own boat. Number 2 is the golden rule of Sea of Thieves, and one of the first tips you'll be given from other players. Never keep your anchor down when parking your ship. Instead, raise your sails all the way up and coast into a parked position. If you really want, you can lower your anchor to stop, then raise your sails, but make absolutely sure you raise your anchor back up. If you're surprised by an enemy ship, you want to be able to lower sails and leave immediately, instead of taking time to have to raise the anchor. Speaking of being surprised, you'll always want to keep a sharp eye on the horizon for incoming ships, or even consider leaving someone on board to protect your vessel. Finally, the number one tip for sailing the high seas in Sea of Thieves is more tips. No, I'm not kidding. Sea of Thieves is well known for having a pretty horrible tutorial and new player experience. The only tried and true way players have been learning the game for years has been watching guides on YouTube or streamers on Twitch. Yes, obviously this is a plug for my own content, considering my entire channel is based on short, easy to digest PvP tips for every situation you could imagine. No, seriously, I have a 49 video long playlist covering literally everything. Link is in the description. But besides the obvious plug, the only way to really learn how to survive PvP is to watch others who've been doing it for years. You'll slowly start to realize strategies you could learn or things you need to practice. But hey, you've already started this journey by clicking on this very video. So keep it up and make sure to subscribe for more Sea of Thieves content. Thanks for watching, guys.